He had mentioned being informed of tweets and Facebook posts that portray me as not only a racist, but a misogynist, a homophobe, a pedophile, a card-carrying, violent white supremacist, and a myriad of other ridiculous accusations.
This is the plaintiff, Joseph Cumia. He says the defendant booked his U2 cover band for an event he was having, and the guy tried to cancel the gig 2 weeks before the performance date. The defendant thinks he has the right to cancel penalty-free, but he's here to show him he can't. He thinks the judge will totally agree and is suing for $2,300, the amount he's due. This is the defendant, Terrence Nelson. He says a patron at the bar he was going to have the U2 cover band perform at told him the plaintiff was a humongous racist and sent him screenshots of despicable things the guy posted on Twitter. His bar's a chill spot. He won't endorse or finance a bigot, and he believes he has it out with the contract he signed, so he owes nothing. He's accused of still not finding what he's looking for.
All parties, please use your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
You see to come to order, please.
Will you give me the rest of the stuff that's behind?
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right. Mr. Cumia, you are suing Mr. Nelson for $2,300 for the balance of a contract to book, is it your band?
It is my band.
Okay,
yes.
a U2 cover band. What's the name of your cover band?
Tribute band by the name of 2U.
2U. And what do you mean by,
two.
what's a tribute band?
A tribute band is a cover band that presents themselves as the original act.
Oh, so they gear up and
Dress up.
stuff.
It's half acting,
Who
half
does
musicianship.
Bono?
A gentleman by the name of Jello, a friend
Okay.
of mine.
I was going to say, you're not going to cut it. All right.
No.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
Well, in essence, I received a phone call from Mr. Nelson, an email, requesting that we play at his establishment, Trenton Social.
What's the name of your establishment?
Trenton Social.
Okay.
And after a little bit of back and forth with him via email, we decided that we could do it. And he was very thankful. I thanked him. We had not too many words back and forth as far as discussing.
Do you have a written contract?
Logistics. I do, yes.
May I see it?
Sure.
So what happened?
Well, that contract was in force for approximately 2 months. And when first I heard about there being a problem was Mr. Nelson had sent me an email, and he told me that the contract wasn't correct. So he had gotten in touch with me via telephone, and when we spoke, he came clean about it, and he said that he believes that I have some political and social beliefs that would not be acceptable in his venue, and that he feels as though
Political and social beliefs.
social beliefs, yes,
Okay.
that go against what he says. In fact, he had mentioned being informed of tweets and Facebook posts that portray me as not only a racist, but a misogynist, a homophobe, a pedophile, a card-carrying, violent white supremacist, and a myriad of other ridiculous accusations. I have the source. I did a bit of investigating, and I came up with the source of those accusations. And it's an ongoing problem that I've had pertaining to online bullying and terrorist tactics to do nothing more than defame me, make my brand unemployed.
Yeah, but were the comments from you that he was concerned about, or were the comments from someone else that he was concerned about?
They came from someone. They come from somewhere else. They're pure fabrication.
Okay, what happened?
I was sent messages from people that were not only guests of my venue, but also friends and whatever. I was unaware of his affiliation with his brother, who's a radio personality, so he was somewhat...
Who's the brother?
Anthony Cumia from the Opie and Anthony show.
The plaintiff has a U2 tribute band, and the defendant canceled the gig 2 weeks before. The defendant says he found out the plaintiff was a racist, but the plaintiff says he never said the statements, and somebody's setting him up. Let's listen.
Anthony was dismissed from the show in 2014.
And he was dismissed from the show for what reasons?
There was an issue with management on Sirius XM satellite radio. He was in. If you'd like, I can go through the story.
No, I just kind of like, let's try it this way.
He was dismissed for angrily tweeting, involving a confrontation that he had with a woman in Manhattan.
Management said more than that. I remember this. Management said that it was racist and misogynistic and blah blah blah. All the things you said except for pedophile. You know, racist, misogynistic.
Yes.
Okay, that gentleman is your brother.
That is correct. He's
Okay.
my younger brother.
Now you get messages from who are these people?
Some are guests of my place, some are friends, some are acquaintances.
All right.
Some are people...
And they tell you what? That he's...
They don't tell me anything. They send me links to screen grabs of things that Joe Cumia has said.
Okay, but that he has said,
that
not
he
that
has
his
said.
brother has said.
I wouldn't judge a man by something his brother said. I would judge a man by something that he said.
So they sent you, what are the screenshots they sent you?
I have them
By
here.
the way, when are you getting this in relation to the date? The date is going to be on St. Patrick's Day.
It had already passed. It was just several weeks ago.
No, I meant when do you get contacted by a bunch of people telling you?
It was at the beginning of March, like the 1st and 2nd.
So it was within the 2-week cancellation period.
Prior to the 2-week.
Prior to the 2-week
yes,
cancellation
the
period.
2-week window.
So when you get these, you decide I don't want him in my club.
I decide I don't want him in my club. Let me look at this contract more closely and
Okay.
see if there's anything.
Right, but why didn't you just cancel the way the contract says? Because the contract says that you have to. Did you cancel the way the contract says, which is notice must be in writing received through the U.S. Postal Service?
I thought I owed the man a conversation as opposed to just sending something in the mail. I thought our rapport.
Well, no, you should do both. But anyway, go ahead.
I thought our rapport over the phone was good. I liked them when we first spoke, and musically, I think that their band is great. But
tell me what comments were brought to your attention? Comments of his or comments of his brother? You say no, certainly not comments
of
of
Joe
it.
Cumia.
So show me the comments that were brought to your attention. Were they in writing?
They're screen grabs.
May I interject for one moment?
Can you object? Yes. You can
no,
always
interject. I'd like to interject for one moment.
Not usually, but I'll go
I
ahead.
have a thought fresh in my head.
Oh, well, that's what we have pens for, but go ahead.
Screen grabs are, first of all, easily manipulated. Second of all, taken out of context often. And I can answer for each and every one of those. And I can tell you which ones have been taken out of context and which ones are genuine screen grabs and are not.
Attention all Caucasians. If I die while being arrested because I acted like an animal, white people, please don't riot and loot on my account. What was this in reference to? Do you know the context of this? Not that there's a good one. I'm just trying to understand what it was.
I don't know the context of it.
Do you know?
No, I never wrote that.
Damn, that boy was the size of a shaved silverback ape. And if you squint a little, and this is purportedly, this is a picture of you, and this is coming from your what?
Twitter.
Twitter.
No, it's coming from a hosting site called Imager. Imager is a hosting site wherein anyone can post pretty much anything.
How do you know it's coming from Imager?
I can show you who did it. I can show you the person, the very person that went to Terrence and told him in no uncertain terms, I'm going to get Joe Cumia canceled, and Joe Cumia and his band canceled on St. Patrick's Day. Proudly. This and these are live links right now. I can actually show you, and I have highlighted.
Right now, he's one of the many people, according to him, who reached out to him. But now tell me this. How can you show me that person put it on Imager? You can't do that. What makes you, other than the fact that he was proud to have reported it?
There's an online community of people. I didn't want to bring up Reddit. I really didn't want to bring them up because they've done nothing but give me a problem. It started about a year ago.
You know what? Don't even.
I'm sorry.
I don't want you to have that problem.
I don't want to get long-winded.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about
Okay.
it. So now I'm reading these comments, and you're reading these comments, and they're abysmal. So what do you
Correct.
decide you're going to do?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So I'm just going to ask you, if you were the judge and you have to make a snap decision, somebody made racist comments that a band you hired outside the club, and then 2 weeks later they're about to perform. Can you say to them, contract's over, I don't want you in?
I would say yes. You could say the contract's over.
Because it's that bad.
Yes.
You agree?
I agree.
Even though there's nothing in the contract that says anything about it.
I agree. I'd do the same thing.
Okay, but can you do it and not get sued for the performance fee that the person had?
I would hope that they wouldn't let them play, but
What do you think? It's America. You're allowed to do. You're allowed to say horrible things. Think about it. Think about it. Going inside the courtroom.
You decide you don't want him at your club.
I can't have him as a welcome
I don't
guest.
blame you. But now here's the thing. There's a contract that says how this is supposed to go down, and you don't follow what's in the contract. I don't want him at your club if he said that. I don't want him at your club if there's somebody who says he said that. The whole thing's too controversial, right? But then it's so simple. Why don't you just do what it is that it says there? Now, without a doubt, you were informed by him before the 2 weeks. You were actually informed by him on the phone. You don't deny that. You were informed by him, we're canceling you, correct?
That's correct.
And I contacted him in writing the day before, just so that it was before that 2-week window.
email.
By email.
He also told me that he was going to show up and have a conversation with me face to face so he could get to know me and we could sit down and talk like human beings, and he can make his determination then whether or not I seem like a racist, misogynist, pedophile, Nazi, white supremacist, card-carrying, violent guy. That's really what it comes down to. Instead, he took the word.
Why would this guy have something against you to make up that you said these things so similar to the things your brother said?
It's not just one guy. If you'd be kind enough to take a look, it's an online community of people that used to be known as pests, Opie and Anthony pests. As you know, if you know anything about my brother's old show, they used to gang up on other radio shows. They did some pretty abysmal things. I mean, they did things that were entertaining while on the air. That's what got them their ratings. That's what got made Anthony as famous and Opie as famous as they were. But these people are still around. They still hang around. They're basically online terrorists. They want to have anything to do with affecting my life and my brother's life. My brother.
Why would they have anything against you just because you're your brother's brother? I mean,
Yes, that's why. That's why.
That's a little bit
Because
far-fetched. It's a little bit far-fetched. But now, so you end up sending an email when?
Yeah, on March 2nd, the day
Which
that I
was
called him.
within the
Prior to.
the
the day
2 week
before.
period. I am going to assume, for the purposes of our discussion, that he said every single last thing. And then I'm going to analyze it legally. So the question that I have, and that I have to analyze here, is it sufficient when a contract specifically calls for cancellation through the U.S. mail to turn around and cancel in a different way? Okay? You know, all you have to do is have postmarked something, and I would always send it certified return receipt requested, or just something so that you have a picture of the postmark and everything's kosher. But you don't, and you send him the email, and the question that I have to answer is that sufficient? Does your email do it, or does the law require the way the contract says? And I looked at this research before coming up here, because I got to tell you, I think, if you're concerned that he's making these horribly racist comments, you should cancel him. But that's not the question that I have. Were you right in doing it? Being a racist is not a reason for cancellation of a contract. Racists can enter if you did say it, racists can enter
Thank you.
contracts. They can.
Sure.
And they're still legally binding. So, you know, and that's one of the beautiful things about this place. That's what makes us different than other nations, is that you have the privilege of being as racist as you want, and you're not going to go to jail for it. You have the freedom of speech of being a complete jerk if you want to be. And then I have the freedom to never have anything to do with you. So you have to do the things according to the way the contract says. I think that if you're getting grief as a club owner from people about something like this, you absolutely did the right thing. I just wish you'd done it the right way. You understand what I'm saying? I hope you're not lying under
Judge
oath
Milian,
today.
may I
Just,
speak?
you know what? I just hope that you're not lying under oath today, because then I could feel better about what I'm about to do. Because if you are lying under oath and I'm still doing this, I still know that it's the right thing. It's still the thing I have to do, but it'll leave a sour taste in my mouth. My verdict is for the plaintiff and the amount of the remainder of the contract, $2,300.
Well, the judge's hands were tied by the law, so she finds for the plaintiff. He gets the $2,300 back. You know, what's a shame? The cost of a postage stamp could have saved you $2,300.
I haven't bought stamps since online banking started, so, you know.
I know, but I mean, that's the case you face here. Simply, a postage stamp could have done it.
Yeah.
Right.
From
I think you've learned a valuable lesson.
Sure.
Sorry about that, but that's the law, sir. Okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nelson. That's the door. Here comes Mr. Camilla.
Hello. How are you, Mr.
Well, I guess you must feel pretty good right now, then.
I do and I don't. I have to say that I was a little bit. I'm happy that that Mr. Nelson has to pay me, but I'm a little bit unhappy that Judge Milian didn't allow me to delve a little more deeply into the accusations of racism, misogyny, pedophilia,
But that
and everything
wasn't-
else that goes.
That really wasn't the issue
I know
facing
it
her.
wasn't,
You know,
but the
she
thing
didn't
is,
have to.
the thing is, I understand that.
It's terrible what you're going through. I understand.
Doing everything I can to combat it, and there's very little recourse. America, be very careful. Very
Okay.
careful.
All righty. Well, look, good luck. Okay.
All right, thank you so
Thank you very
much.
much.
All right,
Okay.
have a great
Thank
day.
you, ma'am. Harvey, very interesting lesson here. What do you think?
Well, I mean, this is a tough one, Doug. The only way, really, the defendant could cancel is if the plaintiff actually made the comments and in some way it was inciting some kind of violence. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Kim Lashana Apollonio. She says she brought her phone into the defendant's shop for repairs, and when she picked it up, it still didn't work right. She brought it back to him, and when she went to pick it up for a second time, the defendant told her the phone was gone because she left it there for too long. Huh? The defendant probably sold her phone off for a hefty profit. What he did was wrong, and she's here suing him for the $1,250 she's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Marcelo Oriana. He says he fixed the plaintiff's screen on her phone, and then she brought it back to fix one of the buttons. He fixed that too, called the plaintiff to tell her it was ready for pickup, and the plaintiff never came in. He waited for over 60 days, and his policy is clear. Merchandise left over 60 days is considered abandoned. When she found out, she went crazy and decided to sue him for all his money. Sorry, but the plaintiff has no one to blame but herself. He's accused of a cell phone disaster.
All parties, please use your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff brought her phone to the defendant. It went missing. She thinks he sold it, but the defendant says he fixed her screen and button. She never came back, and it's abandoned. It's the case of I can't phone home.
Thank you, Douglas.
welcome
Kim
in.
Lashania Apollonio.
Yes.
You are suing Marcelo Oriana's company, Marcelo Mobile Link, for $1,250 that you want him to pay you because they lost a Samsung what?
Note 5.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
In May of 2016, I had my son bring my phone. I actually brought it in first myself. And the phone I dropped it in the water, so it wasn't coming on. So I had my son bring it in when he offered $150 to fix it. So my son dropped the phone off to him, and he repaired the phone. So I picked the phone up. When I picked the phone up, it was almost like 6 weeks later. I picked the phone up. It was on. It was working. My pictures were there. It was fine. I was excited. But when I got home, I couldn't get back to the main screen. So I called him up and I told him that it wasn't working. He told me that's not what he fixed, which is understandable. But he told me to bring it back in. I brought the phone back in. After a couple weeks, he said he was waiting on a part. And then every week, every 2 weeks, it seemed like he was putting us off because he kept saying he's waiting on a part, he's waiting on a part. So now I told my son, get something in writing from him because I don't believe him. I feel like because the Note 7s were called back. So everybody wanted the Note 5s at the time because the Note 7s caught
What
fire.
happened to the Note 7s?
They caught fire, so they were recalled.
So every time I got on a plane, which is a lot, every time I got on a plane, I would hear, if you have a Note 7, you must just killed their stock.
Yes.
If you have a Note 7, you need to hand it over because it could spontaneously combust. I'm horrible. I was like, what? You know?
Right.
Until I got used to it. That's if that's not bad press, I don't know what is. But anyway, so what happens? You feel like you're being put off, and when does the rubber hit the road here? What happens?
I went in myself. I took
And
off
when
work
did you
early.
go in?
I went in on 10/27. My son said it was September 30th. But he wouldn't give him a receipt saying anything because he was waiting on a part. So when I came in,
Do you sign something that talks about?
none of
Did you
that
sign
is on
anything?
his
Did your
paperwork.
son sign anything? Is there any paperwork the son signed?
No, there isn't, not at that point, because if I can speak, the
Yeah.
phone that she actually dropped off was not a Note 5. She actually dropped off a Samsung Note 3. That was one of our issues we actually had originally in locating her device, because when she originally dropped off her phone, she is correct, the device did have water damage and we needed to repair it. So what happened is they dropped off the phone, they came back and asked, is my phone repaired? And we said at that point, well, it hasn't even been paid for. I think that
Do you have the original paperwork for the original?
No, ma'am.
How are you going to prove that it's a Note 3 or a Note 5?
It already passed to the point where we disposed the paperwork.
Why would you dispose of paperwork from a few months ago?
It wasn't a few months ago. This was 2016.
Yeah, don't you have to pay taxes in 2016?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, and you're supposed to keep your records for 7 years for the IRS. So there's no reason to get rid of paperwork you had. I think you didn't have paperwork because it's easier to run a business without worrying about paperwork and then just kind of whatever reporting to. But that's not okay when you're relying on a time constraint. In other words, the people in your position, because you're about to tell me she left the phone there more than 60 days, right?
Correct. Correct.
And that your policy is if you leave the phone there more than 60 days, we're not responsible.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Great. Now you're going to have to prove your defense. How are you going to do that without a stitch of paperwork?
So if she just didn't come back for a long, long time, say more than 2 months, can he just sell the phone or do whatever he wants with it?
I think he should have given her paperwork to prove that she was gone for 2 months.
I agree with you, but if he didn't, at a point, is he allowed to just say, hey, you snooze, you lose?
I think with enough time's passed, yeah.
How much?
Like 6 months?
That sounds reasonable, going inside the courtroom.
I try to locate when we made our purchase through our vendor. The problem is that they only keep a record of us for 12 months. Unfortunately, they
Why
weren't
don't you
able
keep your
to
own records? You wouldn't have this problem.
They weren't able to provide me a record of my
When
invoice.
you say your vendor, that's because you ordered a part?
Correct. So she did not have the Note 5. She actually had a Galaxy Note 3.
How do you know?
I did the repair personally.
Show me the proof of your purchase for your Note 5.
I don't have proof of the
How are we
purchase.
going to know whether it's a Note 3 or a Note 5?
I don't have
or a
proof of the purchase. All I have is the receipt because when
Let me see the receipt.
When my son of the repair, when my son
Yeah, that's what I'm asking him for, and he says he doesn't have.
when
We
my
provide
son
the
went-
customer a
Hold
copy.
on. What?
We keep an original and the customer gets a copy.
Then where's your original?
We had to dispose of it because the phone was disposed of.
So what is this document that she has?
He
that
wouldn't
she
sign
No, I don't
it.
want to hear
Oh,
from you. I want to hear from him.
okay.
That's your paperwork. What is it?
This is after several months. She just wanted me to write her name and the date that she had came in to inquire.
And you did that? That you wrote?
She would not leave without me doing that.
Okay. And then what does that document say to me?
That her and I had a conversation regarding it. She
Does
wanted
that
me.
document say that?
No, between her and I, that's all she just wanted me to write her something. I'm like, there's nothing I can write you. But she said, I just need you to write something saying that I was here that day.
All right, here's where we are, guys. If your defense, because you know you had a phone, there's no debate that they left a phone. Where is the phone?
The time passed so long, ma'am, that it was either recycled or
Oh,
used for
you don't
parts.
really know what happened with her phone.
Not exactly.
But you can't find it.
Correct.
All right, but listen to me. If your defense is, I didn't hear from her in 60 days, I'm going to need you to prove it. You're going to need to prove the date it came in, and I'm going to need to see that the date it came in is more than 60 days from 10/27 when we know she came in. Can you do that?
Unfortunately, I cannot.
Then you're paying for the phone. Now, according to you, it's a 3. According to her, it's a 5. Do you have proof of purchase of your phone so I can see what it is?
I don't have proof of purchase. The phone was old, obviously. It was a Note 5. A new Note had came out, but I wanted to keep my phone.
My question was,
I don't have the receipt.
Okay. And did you have the foresight to back up your pictures when it was in your possession before returning it to him?
No.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
No. That's why we're here, really.
Why? Because if the phone's gone, the phone's gone.
Right.
I can't believe you didn't do that.
I didn't.
You should have been so happy to see those pictures again that you just went and took everything off of it. It takes 2 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, that's not why we're here. Why we're here is the value of the phone. All right, so now, do you have any more paperwork you want me to see?
I have this. I went back in again myself on 11/18, and he said he found, because he called me and told me the phone was there. It was a piece of metal that I refused to accept. And I said, then you need to give me something documented again about the phone. He said, I can offer you $100. I said, just put it in writing, because I refused to take $100 for my phone. I paid over $500 for that phone originally. I know it was
when did
used,
you pay the $500?
Like back in 2014.
Right,
So it was
and you
a used
understand
phone.
that what you're entitled to when you come to court is the value of the item at the time of a loss. Okay, which is a broken 5. If I believe you, 3 if I believe him, but you have to understand that it's not, you don't get 3 free years of using the phone, and then, you understand what I'm saying?
I understand
It's
what you're saying.
depreciated value. Okay.
I know it's a depreciated value.
All right. So why would, if the depreciated value, if a non-broken one, well, I guess you paid for the repair, so we're going to look at it as if it's not a broken one. All right. So if the value of the used item that you say is a 5, we're going to go with that, is $196.47. How is your lawsuit $1,250?
Well,
you want the value of your old phone plus the cost of a new phone, which would put you in an awesome position.
Right.
Right. Because ching-ching, let that cash register ring. That is not the purpose of
I still had to buy
court.
another phone.
I understand, but not if you get the value of your old phone, that's what you put towards your new phone. You don't get both. Then it's a bonanza. Woo, thank God we get to go to court. And then what's $150 for the phone repair? No, because I'm taking that into account when I give you the full value of a repaired phone. So what you come to court for is the value of what you've lost. The value of what you've lost is a fixed 5, and that's $196.47. That's what you get, because that's what he lost. You don't get $600 that you paid 3 years ago, plus $600 to buy a new one so that you have a free phone for 5 years, and the repair. You don't get that. $196.47, verdict for the plaintiff.
Well, the plaintiff does prevail in this case. She doesn't get everything she was seeking, and I guess you're glad of that, because it's only $196 rather than $1,200.
Sure am.
But did you learn anything about keeping records here? I mean, you don't have any evidence of anything.
I sure did. I'm going to be backing up everything digital now, so we don't have to keep track of old paperwork that's left for several months.
Oh, I think that's very smart of you. So you could make a copy of it and come in here with it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's you've learned a good, valuable lesson today. Okay.
Sure have.
Thank you very much. You must sign a few documents.
Thank you.
And the door is that way. Ms.
Apollonio.
Apollonio, yes, okay, good enough. All right. Do you understand? The judge took her time explaining to you.
I do understand, and I knew I wouldn't get $1,250. It's really a lesson for him, because you can't do business. That's not the way you do business, and I'm a business owner, and I know that you have to keep records for 7 years in the state of California.
Well, congratulations. Thank you. Okay. Harvey, what do you think?
So, Doug, abandoned property laws vary not only from state to state, but in some cases city to city. Go online, check your city, check your state, and it'll give you your rights. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
This is the plaintiff, Robert. He says he brought his 2004 Nissan 350Z to the defendant's shop on 4 different occasions for 4 different repairs, and he still had problems with his car shutting down at high speeds on the highway. When he brought it to his local Nissan dealer, they told him there'd been no repairs done to the car, and he was ripped off. The defendant played him for money. He's rip-roaring mad and is suing for the return of every penny of the $3,650 he paid him. This is the defendant, Nicholas Hall. He says he's been in business for 44 years, and this claim from the Nissan dealer that he did no work to the plaintiff's car is simply untrue. He's never had an issue like this with a customer. He did the work he was hired to do because he's a reputable mechanic, and he does not owe this man a dime. He's accused of pretending.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff brought his Nissan to the defendant multiple times, never fixed it right. But the defendant says the Nissan dealer who's siding with the plaintiff is full of it. It's the case of my Nissan gets a Z.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Robert, you've asked us not to use your last name. You're suing Nicholas Hall for $3,650 that you want refunded to you for mechanical work you paid him for that, according to you, did not solve the problem nor was done, I guess. Tell me what's going on.
Back in August of 2014, we were having issues with the vehicle. Mr. Hall was recommended by somebody we know, and we asked him to do repairs. And for over a year, from August 2014 through September 2015, we repeatedly had to take the vehicle back for the same problem. Evidently,
You didn't buy it from him, right?
No,
you were
ma'am.
having him try to help you with whatever problems you're having with your 2004 car.
Yeah, he's a mechanic, so we
Okay.
took that for repairs.
All right.
And we...
So from August 2014 to when?
To September 2015.
Okay, but tell me what work was done between August and September. Do you have all the work records?
Yes, ma'am.
May I see them?
Yeah, I have copies of that as well.
Okay. What was wrong with the car?
I replaced the thermostat, which had been replaced previously. She had another issue with a coil pack, which I
Who's she?
replaced. Actually,
That's my daughter's mom.
this
Okay.
gentleman I have never, ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, we
Ever.
spoke on the phone twice. I work out of town, and
Okay. Go
she
ahead.
handled it.
And
Did you drive the car?
She was driving it on rare occasions. She works from home, but every
So
time
you never drove the car?
Oh, no, I did. Yeah, it was my vehicle. But it stayed in Volusia County. I work in Orange County, Orlando. So I was using another vehicle while that one stayed home for her to use.
You called her the mother. What did you call her?
It's my daughter's mom.
Daughter's mom. Are you with her or not?
We live in the same house. Interesting situation. My daughter
Okay,
lives
I'm
there.
sorry.
Yeah. She's a good lady. She's a good
Okay,
lady.
so you took it to
Because-
a Nissan dealership.
Yes,
And
they
the
said
Nissan dealership told you what?
that a lot of the work that he claimed to have done wasn't. Then what I did was I decided
Wait, a lot of the work what?
that he claimed was done wasn't.
Okay, do you have that in writing from Nissan?
Yeah, I actually highlighted some of it here.
Okay, let me see what
If
you've
you
got.
compare this with what the list of things that he did, there are some things on there that overlap.
All right, and then this is obtained by you from Nissan in December. All the dash warning lights came on and car shut itself off. Had it repaired at other private shop. They replaced cam sensors. What's the cam sensor?
the cam angle sensor lets the engine computer know which cylinder to be firing.
Does that have anything to do with the dash warning lights?
Yes, ma'am.
But what does it have to do with the dash warning lights?
It sends a signal to the computer that it's at a time, so it'll turn the dash light on.
If you replace did you replace cam sensors?
Yes, ma'am. And
If
I
you-
also have the ticket there.
And I have the receipt for the cam sensors that
Yes,
you bought
and it was a lifetime warranty.
with a lifetime warranty.
And it would have been replaced had they brought it back to me.
Okay, so all this says is what you're saying. You understand that, right? They're saying, while driving, all the dash warning lights came on, car shut itself off, had it repaired at another shop, they replaced the cam sensors. After repairs, vehicle is still doing same thing. Vehicle has been sitting for a little while since. Once vehicle gone through top to bottom to see what is needed, found battery dead. Using a jump box, found code. So you had it towed to them?
Yes. I
Okay. Using a jump box, found code for iKey lockout. Program key done and retest now starts and runs, but coil's faulty, causing misfire. What's a coil?
On that particular car, there's 6. There's a separate one per each cylinder. That's what feeds the spark to the cylinder.
Did you replace the coils?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it says
I
coils
replaced
faulty.
2 of the coils, which then again, if he would have brought it back, they would have been replaced under warranty if they were 2 of the coils that I replaced.
We had taken the car so many times at that point, and we didn't get receipts as requested.
Coils
That's why
faulty
I opted
causing
to take it
misfire.
to the dealership.
You only replaced 2 of the coils?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This doesn't say which coils. There's 6 coils?
They don't, yeah.
Right. Also coolant, I guess this is reservoir, full of rust. Inspected radiator after startup, found exhaust gases being pumped up through the radiator. Did
And
you
he had
replace the
performed-
radiator?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I did a radiator flush.
Will need head gaskets, possible head or block, depending on condition. You said you replaced the
I
head gasket?
replaced the cylinder head gaskets, yes, ma'am.
So why is Nissan telling him he might need new head gaskets 4 months later?
Yeah, he shouldn't have. And the car has still not been repaired, and I have not.
Has this car been repaired since 2015?
No, we
So what's going on with the car?
well, after investing all this money into it, we got maybe cumulatively over that time, a week and a half, it kept leaving.
No, that's not
stranded.
answering my question.
Oh, I'm
What
sorry.
is going on with the car for the last year and a month?
I have it at home.
Nobody's driving it?
I haven't repaired it, no.
Nobody's driving it?
Not at this time, no. We want to get it
At any
repaired.
time in the last year and 2 months has anybody been driving it?
Are auto repair shops generally honest or dishonest?
Honest.
Why do you say?
They have reputational capital.
That's actually a really good point. Real quick, what do you say?
I would say honest as well.
Okay, I love reputational capital. That actually makes a lot of sense going inside the courtroom.
It's non-operational. The last time it was driven, it left my ex stranded multiple times.
Yeah, but he didn't sell you the car. You know, you have a 13-year-old car you're asking to get repaired. I need to see some, concrete evidence that it didn't get repaired and he charged you for something he didn't do.
Well, actually,
How long have you been in business?
44 years.
Have you ever been sued?
No, ma'am.
Never, ever?
Never.
Most people who are in business for 44 years have been sued. I mean, this is America after all.
I have 1 case in the Better Business Bureau over a tire falling off the car when it left my shop. Because
We'll
I
need
left-
head gaskets, possibly head or block, depending on the condition. We'll need coils and removal. Oh, wait, when did you replace the gaskets? 2014.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, this is December of 2015. How long do gaskets last? I don't know.
I warrantied it for a year.
Oh, so the warranty would be up anyway, because this was a year and a half later.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Head gaskets, possible head or block, depending on condition. Blah, blah, blah. We'll need coils and removal of intake to pinpoint the fault in which the cylinder to begin with. I mean, it sounds to me like you just have a crappy car.
Well, actually, no, that's not the case. I owned the car for 2.5 years prior to bringing it to him.
Yes, I know. It was good until it wasn't. That's how cars work when they go bad.
Yeah,
You know,
but
like
if-
they start to become more trouble than they're worth at one point.
Yeah, but
Did you
we-
sell the car?
No,
Did you junk it?
no.
What are you doing with it?
Right now, it's sitting. We hope to get it repaired.
I mean, unless you had some specific evidence where they say, based on what we're looking at, it could not have been replaced 1 year and 2 months, 1 year and 4 months earlier, you're out of gas. You can't win this case. I mean, you know, getting somebody to look at the car a year and many months later and then saying, you know, that shows he never did this work is just not going to cut it. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Well, the plaintiff fails to convince the judge. Robert, obviously it comes down to the fact you didn't have enough evidence to prove your case.
Well, the car never ran, even when we got it back from him. So
Wow.
we continue to have the same problem.
What are you going to do with the car now? Still sitting at your house?
Gotta come up with some plans.
Well,
for
you're
it.
going to have to pay to get it fixed.
Without a
That's
doubt,
what it
yeah.
comes. Will you take it back to him?
Not
I mean, he
likely.
seems like a good guy. You
Seems
know?
like a good guy, but I was not satisfied with the work he did.
Okay. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Here comes Mr. Hall, the mechanic. 44 years in business, never been sued.
No, sir.
Okay, you've been sued and you won. So
Yes,
your
sir.
record is holding okay.
Yes, sir.
You feel better?
I do.
You happy?
I'm very,
Okay. We like to have happy people here in the People's
very
Court.
happy.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You have a great
Okay.
day.
Head back home. That's it. Harvey?
Okay, I will give you a truism in the law. The longer you sit on your hands, the weaker your case becomes. In this case, the plaintiff completely screwed up by just simply waiting too long. But literally, when bad things happen, a clock starts to tick.
Don't text and drive. The People's Court is a Ralph Edwards, Stu Willett production.